Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to take you little through history and bring you to the modern age, a little bit of which, let us say, in the 1940s, when the World War was over, US was in a very good shape to take charge of the world, so to speak. The dollar became the most powerful currency, not the pound. The pound was losing power. It was that was a time when all the African and Asian countries were breaking away from Britain. They were getting their independence. A lot of European powers were giving up their colonies. India was one, right? And that was a time when they also got a chance to break into German patents. They did not have to, I don't know how many of you know, but all over the world there is a rule that if there are patents held by an enemy country, you can break those patents, because during war the patents rules go away. So that was a time when America got access to a lot of German formulae for chemicals and perhaps pharma also, and thus wrenched the position of being the greatest chemical manufacturer. So a lot of these formulae was in common parlance stolen, but got by the Americans to handle. They got all the chemicals. Anyway, they also had another advantage, that the Japanese and the European economies were in shambles. So the euro help was launched. I don't remember, but yeah, the Europe was to be rebuilt with American dollars, and Japan was to be rebuilt with American dollars. So America suddenly had the whole world market to itself. It could get cheap raw material from all over the world. It had a lot of learnings from the army, how to work as a team and how to work leadership. All those management lessons were learned, and there started the big American boom. So America has been a beneficiary of all the wars. Not to say that if America had not intervened, what would have happened? Would Germany have run all over the world and conquered all of Europe? We don't have any views on all that, or whether Japan would have conquered the world. These are ideas which the Americans have made us believe that if they had not helped during the World War II, something else would have happened. This is like our Congress bill making us believe that if they were not there, India wouldn't have got freedom, and also making us believe that Indian freedom was won without any armed struggle. So the question is, how much of this is this you're going to believe and how much you're not going to believe, right? So also this is the time when thanks to the war, wages in America went up, but the advantage was when wages went up, you could always pass it on, simply because all over the world you had enough markets available. So whether it was selling to India or selling to Japan or selling to Europe against whatever paper currency, that really helped the Americans, and they could establish standards, volumes, big factories to help them, right? All those things could be established, and during the war they had put up Coca-Cola plants, etc. with the help of obviously Coca-Cola had put up these plants with the help of the American army, and all those plants now belong to Coke, and I don't think Pepsi was in a force to reckon with. I don't even think Pepsi was there. I'm not sure about that portion, right? So that was a time when the companies were run for the workers, with the management working as the general, right? The management was working and the workers were ruling the roost, right? So to say, unionism was there, and unions could keep on exploiting to such an extent that at some stage the Americans had to push back. And then the importance of the worker went down, the shareholder went up. So some 30-40 years was workers the most important thing. Worker, traders, union, etc. was important. But after that, and that is the time when the management and the workers ignored the shareholder to such an extent that once the shareholder started pushing back, then last 30-40 years has been run for the shareholder and not so much for the workers and management. The wage rate in US, or rather the wage inflation in US, is below the real return. So last say 20-30 years, maybe 35 years, interest rates have come down, but inflation has not been high. but American wages have been low, right? People have, I don't think America was prepared for two countries with a billion population each willing to work for less than $3 or $4 a day, right? They were not ready for that kind of, so the world inflation was kept low by China manufacturing and India services. So that also happened. And then one more thing which happened is the pull. I mean, I'm talking about this. The management, the workers, and the shareholders had to pull, and the stronger puller obviously got better rewards. And now it is the turn of the shareholders. So if you take companies like Walmart, which pay wages way below the what they can officially get away with, then they obviously think that they are creating more value for the shareholder. Now other companies like Costco pay a better wage and treat their workers better. So many companies treat their workers better and create greater value. Now come to the, why am I creating this background? Come to the Indian context. In the Indian context, you have companies like the PSU, which is run more for the employees and for the politician, and the shareholder is ignored. They're completely ignored for a very long time. Then there is a pushback by the PSU shareholder, and he wants more value. So he says, give me dividends. I don't care about your EPS, give me dividends. So the government also says, now give me dividend. Now there the shareholder is forcing his way and saying, I will extract my pound, right? And this has helped the PSU shares do well. Same thing is happening in the private sector, public sector. So, in the private sector also, the shareholder is asserting himself that if there is no value add that you are creating, we will dump your share and move on. So it's happening in case of PSUs, it's happening in case of MNCs, it is happening in case of big public sector companies, private sector companies, all over it is happening that the shareholder is asserting himself. Now, come to the financial services. In financial services also, every product, there is a manufacturer, distributor and a user. He who pulls hardest gets the best. So in an index fund, it is the investor who pulls the hardest, so he gets his share, and the AMC and the distributor don't make much money. In the AIF, it is the manufacturer who is strongest, so and the manufacturer makes money and he distributes very heavily to the distributor, so the investor makes less money. In the PMS, it's again a fight between all the three of them. So the smart investor in case of PSU, in case of PMS, negotiates harder with the distributor and with the manufacturer and gets a good rate. There are some PMS who have eliminated the distributor and they go directly. So it's only the manufacturer and the user. There is no intermediary. So so that pull is lacking. And now come to the sales. How does sales happen? Well, in many companies, you either lie or perish, right? So if you're a bank and you're forced to sell, you will sell, you will keep selling. So again, now there is pressure on the employee for the benefit of the shareholder to sell a product which is very profitable for the distributor. Now this combination again is toxic. How long can you do this? When will the shareholder or when will the bank client find out and push back and say, I will not buy this product? It's already happening, right? They are not buying third-party products. It's not doing so well. So banks are forced to look at banking products much more than what they're looking at third-party products, right? So all these things are happening. You will find this kind of price resistance obviously from the investor not wanting to. I heard somebody saying airfares have gone up substantially. Airfares cannot go up substantially because they were already 25-30 years back they were here, then they went down and now they are still there, right? In terms of inflation, we have nowhere near caught up. But if there is a monopoly and if the airline is doing well, slowly airfares will go up, and then the airline profitability is something which you can talk about. Similarly, in telecom, now there are only effectively two players. The third player has been marginalized dramatically. So you slowly see the telephone rates going up, and you saw the share price of something like Bharti has gone up from 270 to 720 or something dramatic like that over the last 18 months, 2 years. And that is bound to happen because the fares are going up, the charges are going up, and the profitability keeps improving. So in every industry, we will do a trial and error. We will first favor the employees, then the management, then the shareholders, and then the users, right? We will keep pulling between all of them, and it is for the market to decide who should get compensated how much. It's not for the chairman to decide, it is not for the salesman to decide, it is not for the user to decide. The market will decide how the cake will be spread. So based on that, company's profitability, longevity, everything, because the company exploiting one by helping the others does not have too long a life, or it's people start resisting it. When you have your employees who are not satisfied, they start treating the customer badly, and therefore the customer goes away. So now this combination, we'll have to see how the whole thing works. Thank you.